Hello, everyone. In today's lesson, we're diving into an important topic. Can you speak English fluently in 5 months? Spoiler alert, yes, you absolutely can. Today, I'll show you exactly how to achieve that step by step. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand what fluency truly means, how to achieve it, and how to maximize your learning time and the quality of your practice. We'll also address some common myths about learning languages and go over the most effective methods to help you succeed. What does it mean to be fluent? Before we discuss how to become fluent in English, let's take a moment to define what fluency really means. Many people misunderstand the term and think being fluent means speaking a language perfectly like a native speaker, but that's not necessarily true. In fact, fluency doesn't mean you have to speak English flawlessly. Fluency simply means you can communicate effectively and naturally without much hesitation. Imagine water flowing smoothly down a river. That's what fluency feels like in a language. Your words come out naturally, and you don't have to stop and think too much before speaking. Fluency in English means smooth and easy communication. You can speak in a way that flows naturally, you feel confident, and you feel comfortable expressing your thoughts, even if you make mistakes. You're ready to have a regular conversation about everyday topics like talking about your day, asking for information, or discussing your hobbies. It's important to note that fluency isn't the same as native-level perfection. Native speakers also make mistakes from time to time. The key to fluency is communication. If you can convey your thoughts clearly and understand others, you're fluent, even if you don't know every word in the dictionary or if you make small grammatical errors. That's okay. We're not aiming for perfection here, but for natural and effective communication. The concept of fluency in 5 months. Now that we know what fluency is, let's talk about how you can become fluent in 5 months. You might be wondering if this is really possible. The answer is yes, but it requires focus, commitment, and the right approach. First, let's clear up a common misconception. Time alone doesn't determine how quickly you learn a language. It's not just about how many months or years you spend learning, but how effectively you use that time. Someone who studies for 2 hours every day for 5 months can achieve fluency faster than someone who practices just once a week for 5 years. It's about both quality and quantity. You need to combine the two for the best results. Quantity. How much time should you invest to achieve fluency in 5 months? You'll need to invest a significant amount of time learning and practicing English. But how much time exactly? A general rule of thumb is about 600 hours of focused and effective practice. That might sound like a lot, but let's break it down. 600 hours over 5 months works out to roughly 20 hours a week, or up to 4 hours a day. If you're serious about learning English quickly, you'll need to commit to practicing every day. Now, you might be thinking that 3 to 4 hours a day sounds overwhelming, but don't worry. It doesn't mean you have to sit at a desk studying grammar for 4 hours straight. In fact, that would be a bad idea. You can break your practice into smaller chunks throughout the day. For example, spend 1 hour in the morning listening to an English podcast while having breakfast. Use 30 minutes during lunch to review vocabulary or read an article in English. Watch a 45-minute English TV show or YouTube video in the evening, focusing on understanding the dialogue. Spend another 45 minutes practicing speaking by repeating phrases or talking to yourself, friends, or an online language partner. By breaking it up, you make it more manageable and can fit language learning into your daily routine. Quality. How should you spend your learning time? While the number of hours you spend learning is important, the quality of those hours is even more crucial. You could spend 5 hours a day passively listening to English without focus, or you could spend just 1 hour fully engaged practicing specific skills. The latter will give you better results. So how do you maximize the quality of your learning through focused practice? Don't just passively listen to English. Actively pay attention. Try to understand what's being said, observe how sentences are structured, and repeat key phrases out loud. Comprehensible input. Make sure the material you're studying is at the right level for you. It should be challenging enough to push you, but not so difficult that you feel completely lost. If you're watching a TV show or reading an article where you only understand 10% of the words, it's too advanced. Aim to understand about 80%. This will help you learn without feeling discouraged. Speaking practice. You must practice speaking if you want to become fluent. Reading and listening are crucial, but speaking is the only way to build fluency. Find a language partner or tutor to practice with, or even talk to yourself. Practicing speaking out loud will help you gain the confidence and muscle memory needed to speak more naturally. Emotional engagement. The more you enjoy the process, the faster you'll learn. Choose topics that genuinely interest you and find ways to make learning fun. Watch movies you enjoy in English, read about your hobbies, or listen to English music. You don't need a vast vocabulary to become fluent. One of the biggest myths about fluency is thinking that you need to know thousands upon thousands of words. In reality, you only need around 4,000 commonly used words to engage in everyday conversations in English. Think about it. In daily life, we mostly talk about common topics like the weather, food, work, family, and hobbies. You don't need to know advanced terms like metamorphosis or subatomic to have normal conversations. A smaller, more focused vocabulary is far more effective than trying to memorize thousands of words you'll rarely use. Start by mastering the most commonly used words and phrases in English, then gradually expand your vocabulary. But if your goal is fluency within 5 months, focus on learning words that will help you communicate immediately. The power of listening. Train your ear to understand English. Listening is one of the most powerful tools for learning any language. When you listen to English, you're not just picking up vocabulary, you're also training your ear to understand the rhythm, intonation, and natural flow of the language. This is critical for fluency. Spend as much time as possible listening to English. You can listen to podcasts, audiobooks, YouTube videos, TV shows, or music with lyrics. The more you listen, the more you'll start to pick up on how native speakers connect their words, which will help improve your own speaking skills. But remember, passive listening isn't enough. You need to actively listen. Pay attention to how words are pronounced, how sentences are structured, and how native speakers express themselves in different situations. Speaking with confidence. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. One of the biggest barriers to fluency is the fear of making errors. Many learners are afraid to speak because they don't want to sound silly or say something wrong. But here's the truth. Mistakes are a necessary part of learning. In fact, the more mistakes you make, the faster you'll improve. When babies learn to speak, they make tons of mistakes. They say words wrong, mix up grammar, and mispronounce things. But they keep trying, and eventually, they become fluent. You need to adopt the same mindset. Don't be afraid to speak, even if you're not 100% confident in your grammar or pronunciation. Remember, fluency is not about perfection. Fluency means being able to communicate effectively, even if you make mistakes. As long as people understand what you're trying to say, you're on the right track. To help build your confidence, start by practicing in a low-pressure environment. Talk to yourself in English at home, practice with a friend, or use language apps where you can speak with people from all over the world. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become. Repetition is key. Train like a champion. Think of language learning like training for a sport. If you want to become a top athlete, you need to practice regularly and with intensity. The same goes for learning English. When athletes train, they don't just try a new skill once and move on. They practice it over and over until it becomes second nature. You should approach language learning the same way. Repeat new words, phrases, and sentences until they become a natural part of your vocabulary. This is called spaced repetition, and it's one of the most effective ways to remember new information. Here's how to incorporate repetition into your daily English practice. First, review vocabulary regularly. Each day, review the words and phrases you learned the day before. Use flashcards, apps like Anki or Quizlet, or simply write them down in a notebook and go over them at different times of the day. Second, use new words in sentences as soon as you learn them. Create sentences with new words throughout the day. When you learn a new word, like opportunity, try using it in different contexts. For example, you could say, "This is a great opportunity to improve my English," or "I had the opportunity to meet new people today." Use the word as much as possible in your conversations to reinforce your learning. Speak out loud. Don't just think about the sentences in your head. Say them out loud. This helps you get used to hearing your own voice speaking English and builds confidence. The more you practice speaking out loud, the more fluid and natural it will feel. Revisit old lessons. Language learning isn't a straight path. You need to revisit old material several times to truly master it. Repetition isn't boring. It's how we train our brains to retain and recall new information. The more you repeat a word or phrase, the easier it will come to mind when you need it. Immerse yourself in English, surround yourself with the language. Immersion is one of the most effective ways to learn a language quickly. You don't need to move to an English-speaking country to immerse yourself. For instance, you can 1. Change your device. Settings, set your phone and computer to English. This simple step exposes you to English regularly. 2. Watch TV shows and movies in English. Start with subtitles in your native language if necessary, but over time, switch to English subtitles and eventually, none at all. Mimic the way people speak. 3. Listen to English podcasts or audiobooks. Choose topics you enjoy so you stay engaged. This can be done while commuting, exercising, or doing household chores. Reading. Why it's important. Reading enhances your vocabulary and strengthens your understanding of grammar and sentence structure. It's also a great way to expose yourself to more sophisticated language use and deeper topics. How to practice. Start with materials that fit your current level. For beginners, try children's books or simple news articles. As you improve, challenge yourself with more complex texts like novels, blogs, or professional articles. Reading out loud not only helps with comprehension, but also with speaking skills. It's an effective way to practice pronunciation and improve fluency. Keeping a vocabulary journal. When you come across new words, write them down with a simple definition and an example sentence. Regularly reviewing these words will help you steadily build up your vocabulary. Writing. Why it's important. Writing helps organize your thoughts, solidify your understanding of grammar, and expand your vocabulary. It's also a valuable skill for everyday tasks, such as sending emails or writing notes. How to practice. Start by keeping a daily journal in English. Write about your day, your thoughts, or your goals. It doesn't need to be long. The focus is on expressing yourself in English. You can also practice by writing short emails or text messages in English, especially if you have friends who are learning the language too. Engaging in written conversations on online forums or social media groups is another useful approach. Asking for feedback. If possible, have a tutor or a language partner review your writing and give constructive feedback. This way, you'll know where you need improvement. Building a consistent learning schedule. To become fluent in 5 months, you need consistent practice. Here's a sample daily schedule you can follow. 1. Morning, 1 hour. Listen to a podcast or audiobook during breakfast. Review 10 to 20 new vocabulary words using flashcards or a language app. 2. Lunchtime, 30 minutes. Read a short article or blog post in English and practice summarizing what you've read out loud. 3. Afternoon, 45 minutes. Have a conversation with a language partner or tutor. Discuss everyday topics like your weekend plans or something you did recently. 4th evening, 45 minutes. Watch a TV show or movie in English. Pay attention to how characters interact and try to mimic their phrases and expressions. Following this structured schedule will help you improve in all four language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and reinforce what you've learned. Dealing with challenges and staying motivated learning English in 5 months is an ambitious goal, and you may face challenges along the way. Some days you might feel discouraged if you don't see immediate progress. Here's how to stay motivated. 1. Set small, achievable goals. Instead of focusing only on fluency, break your goal down into smaller milestones. For instance, aim to learn 10 new words per day or complete one speaking session each week with a tutor. Celebrate each milestone to stay encouraged. 2. Track your progress. Keep a journal or log of your learning. Write down the new words you've learned and reflect on your practice. Seeing how far you've come can keep you motivated, especially when progress feels slow. 3. Reward yourself. Use positive reinforcement. When you achieve a goal, treat yourself to something enjoyable, like your favorite meal or a fun activity in English. Stay connected with other learners. Learning with others is a great way to stay accountable. Join a study group, participate in online forums, or find a language buddy. Sharing experiences and challenges with others will help keep you engaged and motivated. Remember, why you're learning. Whenever you feel demotivated, remind yourself why you're learning English, whether it's for career advancement, travel, or connecting with new people. Keeping your goals in mind will help push you through tough times.